Side to side and a rhythmic break.
Why am I making a sound effect to this? It does that on its own. See? I don't even know why I even try to make a sound effect to that. But anyway, 13 Assassins is a 2010 samurai film that is directed by Takashi Miike. It is also starring Kōji Yakusho. In this remake of a 1963 film based on historical events, Shinmei Yamada leads a team of assassins in the 19th century Japan to eliminate the ruthless Lord Naritsugu Matsudaira, who is wreaking havoc amongst his own people. Hired secretly by a government official hoping to end Matsudaira's reign of terror. This movie is incredible. Like, I loved every single moment of this film. This movie is not just filled with action. Here's the thing. The movie barely shows any action. But what I love mostly about this film is the character development, the dialogue, and most of all, the pacing. The pacing and the tension in this film did me justice. When it comes to me watching old samurai film, well, the film is not old. It was made in 2010, but it's basically at the brink of the 19th century. But it shows it very well. I love this film. I did not know what I was getting myself into watching it. And by me watching it now, I'm going to have to say I'm sorry, because I should have been watched this. I should have checked this out as soon as it released. But you know what, though? I didn't really miss out, because watching it now, I feel as if there was nothing for me to criticize the film about at all. I love the characters, especially Kōji Yakusho, the person who played Shinzaman Yamada. I'm going to go ahead and just say that his main character was very, very well crafted. And in my opinion, his character was very uplifting. He is the main person who hires the 13 assassins to try to take down the ruthless Lord. When he goes into the dojo to see what everything is about and see what all the commotion is, the Lord who plays as him, which is Gorō Inagaki, man. Here's the thing with his character. His character alone is threatening and imposing. And when I was watching this film, I wanted to see how things are going to play out. The scenery of this film is so beautiful. They want to take their time showing you the scenery and the screenplay of the environment of those times. And what I like about films like this that's based on those ancient times and stuff, I want to look more into the environment of just the art style and like the houses and just how they would live their lives in these times. But what I love most about it is just by him being their grand master and by him being ruthless, him being insane, and him being like a maniac. This is their Lord. So he does things to make them feel uncomfortable. And he's like a spoiled kid. He is like the King Joffrey of Game of Thrones in this film. So that's where the 13 assassins come in. They want to try to take this guy down while they're undercover and working among him as secret. But you get to see how he does things. You get to see how his character is interacting with everybody else. You got people that's training, and they show you the graphic details of the environment. Like I said, it's very beautifully done, very well executed. But then when they see the Grand Master, they just all just shrivel up. They all just freeze up. And what I like about the Grand Master is that, well, the Lord, he doesn't really act threatening. He doesn't act imposing. He acts joyful. He speaks his mind. He acts very nice towards everybody. He just, he says hi. He looks, he smiles and stuff. But if you piss him off, or if he doesn't if he asks you to do something and if you question his authority, he will kill you without blinking an eye, or he will torture you, or he will do things to you to make you regret ever questioning his authority as him being a lord. That's what makes him so imposing. And Gorō, by you playing that performance, I'm have to tell you right now, you killed the shit out of that role, dude. For somebody who can play a role of being iconic, and what I mean by that is by you being nice, being like heartwarming, but then when you don't have your way, you make the audience be jumped of how you would interact with other people, because he does that a lot. There are times where you would let your guard down with him. But then what I like about this movie is that they focuses so much on the tension. And you have to pay attention of how things are being explained to you in this film. I like how when he shows up and then when people look at him and then when they try to talk to him, everything in the whole film changes to the point where it's nice, it's beautiful, the scenery looks nice and everything, and they show birds, they show the, like the rose petals and stuff as they training, as they busy just walking around the dojo. But when he shows up, when the Lord shows up, they still show these things, but they more focus on the expression of his henchmen looking at him, as the maids looking at him, as he's busy interacting with everybody else. And the wind blows a lot when they're busy staring at him and when he's busy having his way towards everybody else. Now, the reason why I say the wind blows is because wind blowing scenes on movies normally occur when there's tragedy involved. You have to pay attention to that. When you watch movies or anime or TV shows, when you hear like there's a death in the family and when a character hears the news, the wind blows as they're feeling a lot of gravitation and emotional weight towards themselves. And as us watching it, we feel that as well. It's a cliche method, but you could see the effort they put into this film, to where they want to show you how beautiful the cinematography is, not just with the scenery, but at the same time, the sound effects too, because there are times when they're talking into the dojo and their speech is being expressed, and then you can hear like small screams, small people, like people being tortured and people getting killed in the background. They do that not just to show you that that the Lord is killing his own people in the background, but they want to show you that there's more than just one thing going on just because you're seeing that one scene. Just because there's one scene that you're looking into doesn't mean that there's not other things going on behind the scenes. That's realistic. That's like if I'm talking and at the same time you're hearing people talk in the background. I can't control that. So that's a realistic gesture, and that's something that to be mentioned. Now for the action. Now the action, it takes a while to get there. I can't say it drags because everything is paced up in a perfect way. The movie does not drag at all. When it comes to these Japanese, Korean films, when it comes to them having subtitles, it runs a risk with the Americanized, like with us, because a lot of people, we would watch these films, but as long as we have a lot of entertainment methods when it comes to their action and stuff. 13 Assassins doesn't really show that much action, but the end is very well warranted. All I'm saying is you need to be patient with the pacing and pay attention to what the dialogue is given to you and what the scenes are showing you. I pay attention a lot watching these films. I have to since I'm a critic. But by me watching this film, everything on this film was polished and crafted perfectly. I don't have not one bad thing to say about this film. I don't. Even the ending, I felt like the ending, some people may debate saying that the ending could have been better, but I feel like I did not have a problem with the ending. With Shimada's character, I feel like he was destined to kill this master. He was destined to kill the Lord because the Lord's, I didn't really explain this, but the Lord's goal is basically to go into the council so he can be in charge. But Shimada's character wanted to make sure that doesn't happen because he knew that when this happens, then there's going to be destruction. It's going to be nothing but war and chaos throughout history. He knows that he's not going to be a good leader. So he has sworn himself to kill him and to assassinate him no matter what the cost is. And one of the Lord's servants is one of his friends, one of his trustworthy friends. And he has to try to kill him to get to the Lord. Now, even though we didn't really get that much gravitation and that much pacing towards both of those characters, I still felt the weight. Because as it was fighting, they was explaining to each other, and that was perfect. As it was fighting each other, and as there was bloodshed, and as it was cutting each other down, they was telling each other as it was fighting, you know, we're evenly matched. let's do this one more time. They was busy explaining each other, like, even though they don't want to do this, but they don't have no choice. And they both have their own vision of what is right and what is wrong. I love that scene. I would watch that movie all over again just so I can go to that scene. I wouldn't fast forward it because I need that tension to get there again. 13 Assassins. This is a movie that everybody, even to this day, should be talking about. And if you love samurai movies, if you love these type of films, and here's the thing, I was getting Sugar Death Frenzy vibes watching this. If you don't know my anime review of Sugar Death Frenzy, it's a lot like this movie. It is creepy. It has good horror elements too, because it shows a scene where the Lord has one of his torture victims, and they show Yamada this, and I don't want to spoil it. I almost spoiled it, but seeing that scene broke me down tremendously. And just by that alone, they do every scene right when it comes to their beautiful cinematography, when it comes to the tension cinematography, the action cinematography, and a horror element cinematography. Perfect in every sense of the word. And their acting and their action and pacing, well warranted. I'm going to have to give 13 Assassins an A+. I barely use this sword because I don't need to. But ever since watching this film, I don't know. When I watch movies like this, I just wish I could just be a samurai. I don't want to be around those times because I wouldn't last 15 seconds. But I feel like with movies like this, it's more than just a movie that needs to be talked about. It's a masterpiece, man. And I love this movie from start to finish. You know what? I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it again tonight because this is a damn good movie. And I suggest everybody that is watching this review to please check this movie out. You will not be sorry. But that's all I got to say for today. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and videos headed towards your way. This is your critic teacher, and you guys, Kōji Yakusho now. Just for the record, that wasn't Japanese. I made those words up. You guys have a good time.